Okay, we are in business. Today is Tuesday, September 19th. I am chilling. I actually took a nap on some YouTube videos, I guess. It is the evening, about to actually start finishing up dinner. I do have a trip to go on. I am going to Seattle slash Vancouver. Yeah, it's gonna be a good trip. It's going to be about four 4 or 5 days, 3, 4 days, something like that. And actually arrived back on my birthday. So that's that. It's interesting because I've never been to Seattle. I'm a coffee guy, and Seattle, for the longest, still is for the most part. There are other places around America that are really big into the coffee scene, just as much as Seattle. And I wanted to go to Seattle for a very long time, and I just never did. And I have a really good friend. He lives there. He's going to show us around a little bit. He did ask me what did I want to do or get into or coffee shops to go to. I said, doesn't matter right now. I just want to experience it. I do need a vacation. And yeah, so most of my stuff is packed. There are a couple of things that I do need to think about. I am carrying 4 pounds of coffee and some stuff for my brother too. Two of my brothers are coming, 2 out of 3 are coming on the trip. And the one that I have stuff for, he lives in Denmark. So I'm going to be giving him a couple of things that he requested. I mail some things for his kids. And I do have a meter that I don't use. And I think he still uses them. So I'm giving that to him. But yeah, so I'm just looking forward to the trip. It's going to be a good one. And I'm really going to just take everything in and see how it goes. Let me drink some water. I don't know why I said let me. I can do anything I want to do. But as I'm sitting in my office slash podcast slash coffee area slash whatever you want to call it, I am looking over at a coffee maker. I did get a Hamilton Beach single serve coffee maker. And main reason why I got it was because I have a client and she does hair, and she buys coffee, of course, for me. I guess that's how she's a client. And she relayed to me that she uses this machine. And as I was talking to a friend about this stuff too, I mentioned to him that I need to really get back to basics, giving it all to people, just you know. And this is one of the things that I'm planning to do. So I got this machine on Sunday. I've done many tests on it already. I did some yesterday, didn't touch it. I think this machine's garbage, complete garbage. And I'm not just saying that from a coffee snob point of view or elitist coming from that side of the track, but I'm really looking at it from a recommendation, standpoint. Can I really recommend this product to people? And also, I'm seeing if it's possible to actually make decent coffee in this machine, and it does not seem that way. Um, it's cool that it does have a couple different nozzles for the hot water to come through, and it boils really quickly. You know, I think it's probably slightly under temperature. Um, but the biggest issue that I think it has going for it is that you can't grind too fine, mainly because the flow rate is too fast. And with the flow rate being too fast, that means if you grind too fine or put too much coffee in, it'll start to overflow the basket. And when you look at the basket, it looks like a decent size, but it's still relatively small compared, to what I believe what you need in order for you to have a good extracted, tasty coffee. The coffees are extremely weak, even on a bold setting, even on putting, of course, less water in there in the brew chamber. It's horrible. I my coffee does not taste good on it at all. And I'm sure, people use creamer on it and stuff too, which I would assume most people do. But the thing about it is it doesn't produce an acceptable cup of coffee from the get-go. And that's a problem. And just thinking about it out loud, if the customer is an everyday customer and majority of them do get ground coffee, they don't know much about really the things that you need or use or whatnot. And that's one thing that I will try to figure out because, yes, I will highly recommend the things that I use, but at the end of the day, this thing is pretty easy to use. That's the only thing it has going for it. You turn it on, you put some water in there, put some coffee in there, you push a button, something comes out, and then you go on with your merry-go way. But it doesn't represent the coffee right. It doesn't give you the full extraction of what the coffee tastes like. It's like this, the way I look at it. It's like you know a person, right? And you know them really well. And you guys are good friends. And whenever you guys are around each other, you have good time, can conversate, you know. It's just a good time. Everybody understands each other. You understand that personality and all that good stuff. But when you put that person in a different light, somewhere that he's not comfortable around being, he freezes, he stutters, he has an issue of communicating, elaborating, being himself, and it's like a shell of who he is or she, and you're wondering what the fuck happened here. And that's kind of like what the coffee is. And not to sound, again, not trying to be elitist here, but really it's one of those things where you want the product to be the best that it can be as much as it can be from the get-go. And if the grower grew it right, the exporter got it and has which I do need to do research on this, a facility where it's climate control for the raw coffee, and then myself roast the coffee the best way that I know how to bring out the best in that coffee, and then I give it to somebody and they are trying that coffee on a machine that doesn't showcase that coffee in its best light. That's a problem. Because think about it, if somebody can really easily say or get this X amount of dollars for this coffee, try it out, and they're like, I don't see the big fuss of this. You know, it's a big deal about specialty coffee. You know, these people are pretentious. These people are crazy. They don't know what they're talking about. And one of the things too that I have to figure out or understand is that I can't recommend something like eventually I'm gonna get a technical bowl. I need to pronounce that correctly. But this machine is like $200 to $300. It's made in Europe, and it's a really nice machine. And it's $300 though. Will the everyday person pay $300 for a coffee machine? No. And this machine, I got it used for like $30. Brand new is like $50. But it's a piece of shit. It really is. So if I can convince people to pay at most, I would say $75 for a coffee machine, it needs to do the work. It needs to be able to showcase, highlight that coffee in its best element. I mean, the coffees I'm getting out of it are watery and extremely, extremely low extraction, and I can't really figure out the best way to go about it. I think, yeah, it's good to go ahead and put the coffee in as coarse as possible, but you can't slow down anything. And when you try to slow down that flow rate, it will eventually overfill the cup that you're doing everything in. So that's the issue really. And so I do have a couple things that I do want to try out more on it, but that's the issue. And that's the biggest eye opener is the machine. And again, I would love to tell people these are the machines that you use, like my coffee maker, my simplistic to me coffee maker. But there is skill involved. You do need a kettle. You do need to pour in a way to where you're going to extract the most out of that coffee. It's a lot of work, right? Not really. Of course, people have rituals like I do and many other people do. But some people rituals is to turn the machine on, push another button, the coffee comes out. They either drink it like that or they doctor it, enhance it, whatever you may call it, and they move on. That's their ritual. And it's kind of crazy that it's one of those things that's the limiting factor in all of this. Don't get me wrong, the coffee matters a lot. It truly, really does. But if the machine is crap, that's my dog. It doesn't matter what you do in order to make the coffee better. And again, it's a fine line. It's a tricky way of going about it. It's one of those things where you don't want to give people a product or even a recommendation of like, okay, hold this machine this way, push this button, turn it off, wait a couple of seconds. It's like you don't want them to jump through hoops in order to use a machine that should theoretically make good coffee. I'm not opposed to, giving some recommendations with that particular machine. I don't have any for this one right now, but it'd be cool to just, grind it, or it's already ground. You throw the coffee into a basket and it brews a damn good cup of coffee. So it's cool to do this because I'm getting understanding more about probably what my customers go through. And this is just one random machine that I'm using. So yeah, I don't know. But that's what I'm going on. That's what I'm doing right now. Like I said, there's still a couple things I need to do tonight. Get ready for the trip. I already got books and podcasts and YouTube stuff saved up and all that. Download it. And we'll go from there. So with that said, I will let you know how the trip goes in the next couple days. Probably on my birthday or probably the day after. We'll see. But talk to you later. Bye.